Bloodbowl by Matt Forbeck. Edited for audio and dramatized by Luke Mason. Chapter 3. Hi there, sports fans, and welcome to Bloodbowl for tonight's contest. You join us here with a capacity crowd packed with members of every race from across the known world, all howling like banshees in anticipation for tonight's game. Oh, and yes, there are some banshees here as well. Kick off in a few moments' time, so we've just got some time to go over to your commentator for tonight, Jim Johnson, for a recap on the rules of the game before battle commences. Good evening, Jim.
Thank you, Bob. Well, good evening, and boy, are you folks in for some great sporting entertainment. First of all, though, for those of you at home who are unfamiliar with the rules, here's how the game is played. Bloodbowl is an epic conflict between two teams of heavily armed and quite insane warriors. Players pass, throw, and run with the ball, attempting to get it to the other end of the field, the end zone. Of course, the other team must try and stop them and recover the ball for their side. If a team gets the ball over the line into the opponent's end zone, it's called a touchdown. The team that scores the most touchdowns by the end of the match wins the game. Of course, it's not always quite as simple as that.
Ahoy! The ship! Ahoy! Sea chariot! Ahoy!
That's far enough, I think.
Yeah, do yourself a favour and forget about that ship.
A team like that's got no place for you, mate.
The other way!
Oi, he's getting away!
Sea chariot! Hold! Hold!
Be casting off yet, dogs. Let's see how this plays out.
My thanks! Hold but a minute more until I can find...
We're not letting another one get past us, mate.
We might have to slit your throat just to make an example of you. After all, we have a reputation to uphold round these parts, don't we?
Back off, my friend Slick.
Right. Looks like this is our lucky day, don't it?
Get that right. This one's head will make a right fine trophy, won't it?
Run! Get on the ship! I'll catch you in Margarita!
See, I told you this one was one of them, didn't I?
That you did. I owe you a pint. We can pay for it from whatever we take from their corpses, can't we?
I think you've messed with the wrong guy.
Taste steel.
I've never killed anyone before, and I don't think I quite like the taste. Well, it was me or them.
You, young sir, are welcome to come aboard. Get us underway as soon as that man, the Hoffnung, and their mounts are aboard.
Wonderful work, son. What a great way of displaying your considerable talents. Sometimes a little showboating really pays off.
Welcome to the Sea Chariot. The name is Carve, spelled C-A-V-R-E. Good to see you again, Mr. Fullbelly. Who's your friend? Permit me to introduce Dunk Hoffnung, a talented young player with plenty of promise, one of the best natural throwers I've ever seen. That's high praise. Not the Carve. I thought you didn't follow the game. Even I've heard of one of the greatest blitzers in the game. You flatter me, Herr Hoffnung. I just moved the ball down the field, which is more than most players can say. There's no trick to it. Just do what you're supposed to do, and do it well. We don't normally take animals on board, but Mr. Fullbelly has a special arrangement with the captain. See, son, the sort of crowd you fall in with can colour your fate.
For good or bad, the name's Kurritternacht. Never heard of you, but then I do only know the star players. Don't worry, kid, I don't play for the fans. Don't let him rattle you, son.
He's just worried for his job. How's that? He be the hacker's starting thrower. For now. Don't let him rattle you, Mr. Hoffnung. You can call me Dunk, please. Thank you, but no. I'd feel more comfortable if you did. Only my old teacher used to call me Mr. Hoffnung. And why do you think this is? I took it as a sign of respect. And did your father's other employees call you Mr. Hoffnung? No, actually none of them. They reserved that name for my father. Do you know why? First names are something to be shared with your peers. Well, we're here, son. The first part. Now all we have to do is complete the second. Which is? To make the team, of course. Once we reach Margarita, Pegleg will set up a quick and dirty training camp and host tryouts. It'll be up to you to outshine the others. Those who do will find themselves filling out the Hackers roster. The rest just get to go home. How many spots are there? Now that's thinking. I like to see that in my players. How many? Assuming there haven't been any injuries or desertions since I left Pegleg in Bad Bay, there were 12 active players on the team. That leaves 4 spots to fill. Who's on the team already? You already met Carv and Kerr. The 2 men who took our mounts, those were the Warhammer brothers, Andreas and Otto. Otto's a catcher, and Andreas is a blitzer. You see that tall, blonde-haired woman over there? That's Gigia Madretti, the other catcher. Her lover is the man in the crow's nest, Christoph Balderson, one of the linesmen. The man in the ship's wheel, that's Percival Smythe, a good bloke if a bit smug in his position. He's the other catcher. That lot there are the rest of the linesmen. Kai Albrecht, Lars Engelhard, Karsten Klemmer, Henrik Kalman. Kai and Lars have the dark hair, although Lars has 30 pounds on Kai. Karsten has the dark blonde hair, and Henrik's the one with the white blonde locks. Yeah, but that's only 11. You said there were 12. Dunk Hoffnung, please allow me to introduce you to Mgrash Kathragsh, our ogre. Well met, Mgrash.
Name?
I am Dunk Hoffnung from Altdorf, the capital city of the Empire.
Dunkel?
My friends call me Dunk.
Dunkel. You are Dunkel.
Yes, that's fine. Call me what you like. I'd like to be your friend. Oh, no.
Friend? Me have new friend.
That's right. I'm your friend for life.
For life, my friend Dunkel.
Mr. Kathragsh, that will be enough. About your duties, please, Mr. Kathragsh. I am pleased you've made a new friend, but we depend on your abilities to get us to sea.
Bye, friend.
By my grandmother's best buttered biscuits. I thought you'd made your last friend ever for a moment there. You need to be more careful with ogres. Who was that? Mgrash is the hacker's best blitzer. Pegleg found him in the forests around Middenheim. He lived with a family of loggers there who had taken him as a wee infant. Apparently, the locusts killed his family, but couldn't bear to put the sword to a newborn. But he's an ogre. I mean, don't ogres normally eat people? Aye, most do. But Mgrash's upbringing changed that. He eats a lot, but humans, elves, halflings, and the like are not on the menu. Is he dangerous? Aye, very. But he treasures his friends. Congratulations for making it on that tiny list. Really? He seemed friendly enough to have an army on his side. Most folks don't respond so well to an ogre's greeting, son. Who are the others on the bow? Oh, those are the other hopefuls, I suspect. Once we get to Margarita, Pegleg will hold them team tryouts. Bloodvisor Beer is sponsoring the event, so they'll have plenty more give it a try once we get there. I'd guess that lot signed on back in Bordeloo. What makes you say that? For one, they're Bretonian for sure. Just listen to those mealy-mouthed accents. More importantly, Lo, do they remind you of anyone?
Do all the dock workers in Bordeaux look so much alike? Only when they're brothers or cousins. Bloodbowl is a deadly game, on and off the pitch. Those ruthless buggers we met on the dock didn't attack us at random. They wanted to thin out the competition for their friends here. But won't there be a lot more hopefuls in Margarita? I said they were ruthless, son, not smart. What have you got me into, Slick? Just settle back. We have a long trip ahead of us. Recruits sleep on deck, Mr. Hoffnung. When you make the team, you'll find yourself below. The agents sleep up here too? You see any other agents around here, son? No. Bloodbowl doesn't care much for agents. We're more what they like to call a necessary evil. We bring them the best talent, but we also make sure they pay the best rates for it. So you're sleeping up here? I wouldn't trust my neck down there. You think I should take off my breastplate? We are on a boat after all. Not tonight, son. Better to get the lay of the land before you lay down your guard. Besides, if you get tossed overboard in the middle of the sea, you'd be better off getting dragged to the bottom before the sharks get you.
You killed my brother. Now you're going to die.
Oh, thank God I wore that plate. Help! Help! Ha! No one here to save you now.
Revenge served with a side order of less competition.
Help! Murderers!
Don't hurt my friend!
Get rid of him, Grash! What in Nuffel's name is going on? Stand down, all of you! This man threatened us, and then Patrick tried to defend himself. He had his pet ogre here. Throw him overboard. Shut your mouths, all of you. McGrash, is that what happened?
No. Dunk in trouble. Me help.
Their friend tried to knife me in the night. He could have killed me if McGrash hadn't stopped him. When he tried to stab McGrash too, he threw the man overboard.
Crow's nest! Is that how it happened?
Well, who would you trust? McGrash's pal there has it right as far as I saw. Mr. Jacques Brozard and Mr. Luc Brozard, is it? Surrender your blades, all of them. There will be no killing here. You save that for the field. Have the weapons tossed overboard. You're lucky that's not you, Mr. Brozard. Now shut up and go back to where you were. If there is another disturbance, I'll have you thrown to the bottom of Manan's watery kingdom, and you can search for your lost weapons there. That pair won't be giving you any more trouble. Not for the rest of the trip at least, son. Just leave them a wide berth. Oh, thank you, Carve, for seeing through their lies. I wasn't doing you any favours, Mr. Hoffnung. There may be some rivalry between those that wish to join the hackers, but I won't permit that to spill blood on this trip. Once we get ashore, though, you're on your own. I understand, and can I ask one more question? Go ahead, Mr. Hoffnung. What about the man overboard? For what he did, Mr. Hoffnung, I'd have him thrown overboard. McGrash here just saved me the trouble. Ah, we've arrived in Margarita! Is it safe for us to be here? Very, with Spike Magazine holding its tournament here. There won't be any trouble. No one would dare. It's worth too much to them, and losing the tournament would half cripple this place. It's all about the crowns. The tournaments bring a huge number of visits to the region, with coins to toss around like confetti. Plus, there are the sponsors, Bloodvisor, and the like. Not to mention the Cablevision rights. Hey, I hear the new Wolf Network, you know. Ruprecht Murdark's group won the rights this year to bring their cameras to the field. Cameras? Enchanted boxes with a spirit trapped inside of them. The box is formed, so the spirit has to look out through the glass lens on the front of it at all times. Back when there was an NAF. Oh, what? The North America Football League. The original league was founded by Commissioner Roselle back in 2409. That's 150 years ago. a bit before my time. It didn't dissolve until 2489. Still. Wait, just how old are you? I can never tell with humans. Never mind, don't answer that. I'm sure I don't want to know. It'll just make me feel older than I want to be. Where was I? Crowns, cameras, the NAF? Right! The various broadcasting companies hire wizards to use the cable vision spell to broadcast whatever the spirits in the cameras see. Some people pay to have these appear directly in front of their minds. Others prefer to watch them in their crystal balls. Some of the best pubs have dozens of them, some larger than a wagon wheel, showing all the games played around the old world, all at once. My family had one of those. I never knew how it worked. Other people use their demonic vision renderers to keep the broadcasts around so that they can play them back later. These have the games broadcast into the head of an entrapped demon, which is ensorcelled into having to play back the games it's seen at the owner's request. Of course, most demons have tiny brains, so they can only remember so many different games at once. You're kidding. Pegleg's got one in his cabin. That's why he never comes out during the whole trip. He locks himself in there to study games, both ours and our likely opponents, picking out their weaknesses and protecting our own. Amazing. All this over some game. It is not just some game, Mr. Hoffnung. It is the greatest game ever. Travelling to these games is expensive. Most teams like to cut their trips as short as possible. No other Bloodbowl games are played in the region the week before the tournament. Everyone wants to be healthy for their shot at one of the 4 big cups. There are 4 of these things. There are a lot of these things, if by things you mean tournaments. There's probably a Bloodbowl game going on somewhere at any given day of the year. And there are tournaments every month. The big 4, the majors. Those each only happen once a year. Your timing couldn't be better, son, for starting out a career. The Spike Magazine tournament is the first of the majors. From there, it's the Dungeon Bowl, a series of games played in underground stadiums, but you need to be sponsored by one of those schools of magic to enter that, so the hackers won't be in that this year. After that, there's the Chaos Cup, which is just as crazy as it sounds. It all culminates in the Bloodbowl, the greatest tournament capped by the greatest championship game of the year. I thought the game was called Bloodbowl. Technically, it's Nuffle America Football, or just Nuffle, but most people just call it after the most important match. Bloodbowl just has a much better ring to it than NAF, don't you think? All those games, all the blood, how does anyone survive a full season? Son, you'd better just concentrate on surviving the tryouts. How many teams are entered into this year's tournament? It varies from year to year. It's somewhere in the hundreds. Son, the majors are big, humongous. Wait until you wander into town and see the tens of thousands of fans there. How do you think the teams can afford to pay the players so much gold? How do they whittle so many teams down? Do some of them not have to play in the first round? Sometimes I forget how little you know about the game. The first round doesn't have any eliminations. The teams play as many games as they can against as many opponents as they like. Although, you can only play the same team once. If you win, you get a point. At the end of the first week, the teams with the top 4 numbers of points scored enter the semi-finals. The winners of those games face off in the finals, and the winner of that game is the champion. The runners-up get 100,000 crowns, and the team that wins first place gets 200,000 crowns and the Spike Magazine trophy, a mithril spike held in the fist of a gilded gauntlet. Do any of the players see any of that? Is that a hero's first concern? Isn't it a Bloodbowl players? Right you are, son! Oh, I've never been prouder. Some players get bonuses if their team wins a big tournament. It depends on the team and the deal that the player strikes with the team. That's where I come in. Right, it's time to report in for practice. You're going to have to look sharp. I did a bit of scouting around last night, and there's a lot more competition for those spots than we saw on the Sea Chariot. How many? At least 2 score. More than 40, vying for how many spots? There are 4 open spots. I didn't think there'd be so many. Don't worry about it, son. It doesn't matter if there are 4 or 400. You've got the talent to be the best. But I don't have the first clue about what I'm doing. Again, that's where I come in. Stop for a moment, and I'll tell you what you need to know. We don't have time. It's alright. I won't get into things like throwing teammates, or avoiding chainsaws, or dwarf death rollers. Bloodbowl is played on a field, or pitch, 100 paces long by 60 wide. At each end of the pitch, there's an end zone. The idea of the game is to take the football and get it to your opponent's end zone by any means available, and score a touchdown. Each game starts with a coin toss. The winner chooses to kick off the ball or to receive. If the ball goes out of bounds, the fans just throw it back in, and the game keeps going. It only stops for a touchdown. Then the team that scored kicks off to the other team. And it all starts all over again. There are 2 30-minute halves with a 20-minute break between. When the clock runs out, the team with the most touchdowns wins the game. That doesn't sound so hard to follow. It's not. That's what makes it so popular. Even goblins can manage it. There's all sorts of fun stuff I'm leaving out, of course, like how to best cheat and how to bribe the referees, but we'll have plenty of time to get to that once you make the team. The only real rule you need to remember is this: no weapons allowed. I thought you said something about chainsaws and dwarf death rollers. All that and more. I said they're against the rules. I didn't say you wouldn't see 'em. Bloodbowl is, at its core, an abstraction of the battles and wars that rage across this land every day. As the saying goes, all's fair in war. That's love and war, I think. You don't say! I can't say I know much about love, son, but I'll teach you everything I can about this kind of war.